which was bad. It was a bad game. Let's call it what it is. Is this game, Jesse, worse than Game 5 against Ottawa, which was also a 2-0 loss?
No, it was 4-0, but two empty netters.
Two empty netters.
Yeah.
They're different.
Okay.
They're 100% different circumstances. I think the opponents are completely different. The circumstances are different. I don't think it's fair to compare those two efforts.
Okay. Now, this, in terms of this game, though, I guess the similarity that I'm trying to hit at is that it's both times the team was ineffective at just about everything. The Leafs looked like for a minute there they could have had one on the power play. There was a John Tavares situation towards the end of the game too, as well, where he almost had a rebound and it kind of went, around the net or something like that instead of into it.
They had a couple chances.
This was not. I don't know if it could be sickness, it could be effort, it could be just, I don't know, tired and banged up and whatever.
The speed and power and explosiveness wasn't there in nearly anybody.
My question is, where did the Leafs forecheck go? Where is that?
Well, the speed and power and explosiveness weren't there. I don't think it was anything the Panthers did particularly well. They defended their blue line well. But all those, chipping it into the corner or whatever it was in those board battles that the Leafs have excelled at, they weren't there. They weren't there to be had in this game. And it's part of the reason why I'm kind of buying what I am selling about the illness thing. It just wasn't there. They didn't have the extra bit.
They all had foggy head. Like there was when the Leafs have been at their best in this series, one of the things they've done is they've dumped the puck in and forechecked hard on the defense.
And crashed.
And what I found really interesting last night is they kind of stopped doing it. William Nylander, a little too many plays at the blue line. Marner, a little too many plays at the blue line. And then, the reason that Kulikov was able to hit Marner like that is because Calle Jarnkrok dropped him a suicide pass at the blue line. I don't know if you guys know the play that led to that, but Jarnkrok, all he has to do is chip it in there. Instead, he carries it in and passes it back to Marner, who is standing still.
Yeah,
and then has to move out of the way and try not to get killed. And which was, by the way, I don't even put that hit on Kulikov. I put that on Jarnkrok. That was a bad play.
Well, I mean, you can't elbow guys in the head until you can, unless a blue guy does it, and then you can't.
Yeah.
Listen, you take 4 penalties in the first period. Like, if you're sick, let's say they're sick and their energy is drained, you need to have an efficient game. That is as inefficient as possible.
Yeah.
4 power plays given up, and the first penalty kill, you survive, you do all right, great. Second one, you survive, you do all right, great. And Wool's having a great game. And look at Matthews out there, and look at Marner, and look at Wool, and look at Lawton, and look at all these guys. Third one, oh my God, now they're just playing with fire. What are you guys doing? And then the fourth one, oh, look at Matthews, and look at Marner, and
and then it leads to the fourth penalty, which is a puck over glass.
Yes, and now your game's done.
So the one thing that Jesse and I were talking about on the pre-show that was sort of like our biggest, thing, and Jess, I kind of want to follow up on this is the play of Joseph Woll, because going into yesterday's game, obviously, there was a lot of people who were like, man, they really missed Stoller, and we've been saying, hey, man, this is a good goalie who's been out for 3 weeks sitting. What did you think of his play last night on the ice?
He was great. Best player on, I think we said it enough, like best player on the Leafs last night for sure. Like
best player on the ice for either team.
He kept them in that when they shouldn't have been a few times, The numbers look better on the Leafs than their performance if you watch that full 60 minutes, and it's largely because of Joseph Woll.
Right. So what I'm getting at here is they can win a series with this guy.
100%. 100%. I'm not overly discouraged. Like, it's 2-2 and game 5 hasn't happened yet. I think everyone is dreading what might come of game 5, and I understand that, but the Leafs haven't lost at home.
What if they win?
To this team. What if they win? I want everyone to leave it open to the possibility. Open your mind to they might win. Good things might happen to your team. Am I usually saying this after the Leafs lose back-to-back games in the playoffs? No, I am not. Even after the Sens won, I was like, you idiots are really about to blow this, aren't you? And then they didn't. Then they open up the series 2-0 against the Panthers, and I'm all the way back on board. Game 3's tight. It's up, it's down. You blow it, you come back. It's overtime. It's a bounce. Damn. You were never going to sweep them. Game 4 is their first stinker. And they still only lost 2-0. Only. And even the second one, like, to me, that's just a bad pass late in the game because you're cheating for offense.
With the Sam Bennett goal?
Yeah. And it had to be Sam Bennett. But there's so many players on the Panthers where I'm like, oh, it had to be him. I hate them all. And I'm tired of pretending I don't. Screw all of them.
Yeah.
Screw every guy. What do you think? They're like, oh, yeah, I don't like the Leafs, but I like this player. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not thinking about that. USA. They don't care, man. They don't care. Anyway, I got lost.
What do you think, Jesse, of at the end of the game, Matthew Tkachuk saying to Nylander, oh, you're going to do that to Barkov. We're going to come after you next game.
Yeah, like, are we surprised?
Skating into him at the speed of smell? You can't skate, Matthew. He can't skate.
That's like what Matthew Tkachuk does. Like, he's going to talk his stuff, and he's probably not going to back it up entirely on the ice, because he doesn't have the speed or the energy right now because he's definitely still injured. But that's hilarious. And William Nylander's not fazed by anything like that.
Pointing his stick and winking?
Yeah.
Cringe. You're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy.
I actually kind of like it. It's very WWE. Put on a show.
Yeah.
That's why he's a star.
WWE is interesting and exciting. Matthew Tkachuk is a guy who stands stock still and winks. That's what he's been in these playoffs. He might come out in Game 5 and be their best player, but it's not going to be based on anything we've seen so far. Lots of players on the Panthers worry me. He doesn't. Not this year.
Yeah, he is.
It's 2025.
He's clearly hurt.